and welcome back to the Long-Winded Pals podcast with Zoe Bell-Kanapaux and Cameron Kanapaux. I'm Zoe Bell-Kanapaux. I am a 22-year-old author and audiobook narrator, and now to my wonderful partner to introduce themselves.
I'm still Cameron Kanapaux, as she forementioned. I don't use words like that, which is the best part.
But that's okay.
When I use them, though, because they're really stupid when I do use them.
Yes, you're like the dichotomy of it all.
Yeah.
There's this meme on TikTok. I don't know if that's what you call like a viral moment on TikTok or like a funny thing.
I call them memes only because like 2016 meme culture,
Yeah.
but there isn't a meme culture anymore. It's more TikTok, and that's pretty much it. Or Reddit.
Right now, as we're filming this, I don't know if you've seen it, but it's, one lady was making, like, content about, this is how you should be a lady. She's like, very demure. Look at me doing this very demure.
Very demure.
Yes, like, very high class, very high class, very, It's very much satire, but I didn't know that at first. See me going to work? Very demure. See me getting in my car? Very demure. Like, it's funny. But anyway, there's this meme on TikTok, and it's that one friend that uses really big vocabulary words in the most random, like, times, and it sounds like they just have a word of the day calendar, which is fine. But they'll be like, yeah, dude, I fucking hate my dad. Well, why do you hate your dad? 'Cause, like, I mean, it's just the dichotomy of it all. Like that's what it is. Like, that's what it is. That's what you do, too. You, like, learn a big word, and then you're, like, using it wrong for a week, and I'm like, Cameron, that's not the word. And then you finally pop out with it right, but it sounds wrong in your mouth.
Oh, definitely. Because
I'm not saying...
No, I know, because it's like why are you saying that?
I'm not saying that you're wrong.
Why is that in your vocabulary for today?
Why have you been trying to make demure work?
Yeah.
So, let's talk about the elephant in the room. We have not posted a video in a month.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Our bads.
Okay, we were stressed out, was the first week. I was stressed out. And then Cameron was stressed out the second week. And then we got sick.
Yup.
And so, yeah, sometimes you just gotta take a break. When I get sick, like a man flu, full on. Like, you'll be like, oh, I got a cold. I'm like, I've got the flu.
We're dying.
I think it's flu B. Every time I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is it. Stupid.
We're crawling out of bed, barely living.
Yeah,
We're like in that one American Dad episode where Roger's got all the
humidifiers. He's like,
I feel like I'm getting sick.
I think I'm getting sick.
And so for like a month ahead, he has like 30 humidifiers up in the attic, and it's just straight fog.
No, that's me. And I've said that exact same shit, and I had never seen that episode before. And
I like our humidifier.
Yeah.
It's very necessary during the summer.
Yes.
Here.
I tell you, I go, Cameron, I think I'm getting sick. I feel it in my throat. And you're always like, oh no. Because you didn't believe me at first. You'd be like, because I was always sick.
Yeah.
And then I stopped getting sick so much because I moved out of my mom's house that was covered in mold.
Yeah.
And I would be like, Cameron...
And then moved into our first mold apartment.
Yeah, we moved into our first mold apartment. But, would you guys knock it off? Thanks.
Immediately stop.
Yes. But I stopped getting so sick, and so when I would go, Cameron, I think I'm getting sick, you'd be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because every time I'd say, I feel it in my throat. That's my first, like, if I get a tickle in my throat, or if I cough weird, I'm like, it's over. The next 2 weeks, mark them off the calendar.
Shit, scrap it.
Well, I have a few autoimmune diseases. I've got HS, which is an inflammatory disorder that causes me to get boils in all my sensitive areas. I get them in my armpits, underneath my breasts. It's very obnoxious and awful, but there's nothing I can do about it. I am as clean as I can be. Like, there's being more cleanly
it's just
isn't going to make it better. You know,
just a thing.
having bad hygiene can make it worse. Like,
well, yeah.
let's be so for real.
But I mean, having bad hygiene can make any disease worse.
Yeah.
Or it can make diabetes worse.
Yeah.
That's how you lose toes and shit.
Yeah, because you're, like, not washing your feet.
Yeah.
So...
It's just... That's how humans are. If you are dirty, you're gonna get sick.
Yeah. And that's why I really love to look at, you know, the anthropology mind that I have. I love to look at, like, certain things, like Muslim people wash their hands ritually multiple times. They wash their hands and their feet multiple times per day. And...
Oh, their feet, too?
Yes.
Like, currently?
Yes.
Current practicing?
Yeah.
Cool. In America?
Yeah.
Cool.
Everywhere.
All practicing Muslims.
Well, I wouldn't say every single one.
Well, whichever ones do that practice, they do that every day. That's interesting.
Jewish people as well, in the morning, they wash their hands as well. And it's ritualistic, but at the end of the day, you know that helps them keep clean, and you know that helps them prevent sickness and illness, because washing your hands does that.
I don't know why I thought that they do it, like, every hour on the hour.
I'm not quite sure what's the, like, I know Muslims pray 5 times a day, minimum. I know some Muslim people pray more than that. Some Muslim people pray less. It just depends on your own prerogative. And I find it very awesome to think about that there are so many cultures where hand washing... Okay, siren.
Oh, you know what? It might be across the street.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, there
just
it was.
Passed. Anyway, I find it very interesting. Like, also, Jewish people and Muslim people not eating pork because pork is dirty, and a lot of people got sick from pork. It's so, like, cool for me to think about, you know?
Yeah.
Find that very, very interesting. Yeah, but anyway, back to my, my sicknesses that I have, my autoimmune diseases. I've got Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which makes my life a lot more complicated than it has to be. And I've been dislocating my knee like crazy. I did it the other day. I went to go to the bathroom. I told you about this. Mm-hmm. I went to go to the bathroom at like 6 in the morning. Right. And I dislocated my knee because I tripped. We have stairs for our chihuahuas that go up the side of our bed because we have a king-size bed and their hips just aren't good enough to jump. You know?
Yeah.
So we have those.
That's the common, like, Chihuahua issue that their hips are gonna suck eventually.
So we want to do as much preventative as possible.
That way, you know, when they're 18 years old, they're not dragging their legs. Yeah. They're actually using them. Yeah, so I tripped on those because I couldn't see. I dislocated my knee, and I thought it popped back into place, and I still had to go to the bathroom. So I like, walked... Like, I try to take it easy, get to the toilet, and usually when I dislocate my knee, I sit on the ground and I put it in. I put it back in on the toilet. So I was sitting like a regular sit instead of like an almost lay down position. Yeah. And that's what fucked my knee up. So it's feeling better. It was hurting bad this morning, but it's feeling better. It's starting to...
Yes, this was like a week ago and I'm still fucking dealing with it. It's just things like that.
Your loosey-goosey joints?
Yes. And I've been waking up with such bad neck pain. So, like, I just had to readjust. But it hurts badly. And my joints are very hypermobile. That's what the specific word for it is. So, I'm looking...
Not loosey-goosey?
Yeah, it's not loosey-goosey for whatever reason. I think that's a lot more fun of a diagnosis, is you just have loosey-goosey joints.
I think loosey-goosey joint syndrome would be a such better medical term than...
Yeah, such better medical term?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is why whenever I say ridiculous words, it's hilarious.
Yeah. I dare you to say what the unacronym... I don't know what the long, elongated version of HS... Hydrogenitis suppurativa. I can't even say it right.
Hydrogenitis suppurativa.
I don't even...
Sativa. I don't know.
No, I don't even say it right. I say one of the syllables in the wrong place. It's just difficult to say.
It's a big word. Yeah. But it's on TV.
Yes.
So you know it's a big word.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Scary to make it to a commercial.
Yeah.
Buy our drugs.
They're doing a lot of clinical trials now.
Yeah.
So I'm very happy about that. I thought about joining
Plus a lot of awareness.
Yes, there's a lot of awareness about it. When I was 12, I didn't get diagnosed until later in life, and it can be a comorbidity of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I was told that. I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome around like 12, 13. I recently read through my medical records and found out that my mother knew for a very long time. So I recently found out about that, but I knew that there was something wrong with my body, right? I always knew that there was something wrong, especially because the nature of HS is that you get these very painful bumps underneath it started in my armpits. Right as I hit puberty, I got it. And I was confused because I had just moved from my father's house in Louisiana to my mother's house in Virginia. So I thought maybe it was just like, I don't know, something, you know.
It's just wherever sweat collects. Well, that's where
when I first got my first boil, I distinctly remember it. It hurt very badly, and I had only lived at my mom's house again for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 weeks. So I thought it had something to do with this big travel, this big change in my life. I didn't think that it was this autoimmune disease. And I was very confused about it, and
it was wonderful timing.
Yeah, it was fantastic. But then I got my period, my first, like, real period, and I'd had them before, but they were almost like, it was almost like I got hit in that area, and I had, like, a little bit of blood for a few days. It wasn't, like, a real period, you know? And so I finally got my first big one, and my mom was in jail, and I had this boil, and I didn't know it was a boil, but it hurt to the touch, and I couldn't even lower my arm. And I was trying to tell my stepdad about it, and he was like, oh, that may just be a pimple. You might need to, like, wash better. Or that might be an infection from the razor, from shaving, because I wasn't allowed to shave in my dad's house, and I had crazy armpit hair. And so my mom was like, shave that shit. But she never told me how to shave. So it was like, there's an episode of George Lopez, the show, where Carmen goes to shave her armpits. And they make like a big stink about it. They're like, you don't need to shave. And she's like, I want to shave. And she ends up having to have like frozen hot dogs under her arms. Because I think she's like a straight razor and she didn't know how to use it. Yeah.
Damn.
Or it was like the grandpa's like old timey ass, like you have to like
yeah, that's a straight razor.
Okay, I didn't know.
Sweeney Todd.
No, like, it's one of those where you have the razor blades and you like screw them in, and it's
single.
Like, yes.
The one where it's just like a U shape.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly that.
Okay. Yeah, those are the single blade.
Yeah. So it was like that, and I just started shaving, and it was beaten into my head that I was just dirty. And that's why. So I would like scrub my skin until it was red and raw.
Yeah.
And it didn't change it.
Yeah, in fact, it just hurts it.
It aggravated it, you're right.
Yeah.
And so I finally figured out what it was. There were some wonderful creators on TikTok. No. This was Instagram. Because TikTok, I wasn't really on TikTok. I found out, I think, in like 2018 or 2019. Mm-hmm. I found out what a boil was. I don't know what it was. Somebody had said something about a boil, and I was like, what the hell's a boil? And they're like, it's like a pimple, but it's really big, and it hurts really bad. And I was like, say more?
No fucking way.
So then I started, like, going down the rabbit hole of doing research about it, and I finally figured out, this is what I have. There's no denying it. And there are a few other people in my family that have it, but didn't know what it was. And so it was almost like a come-together moment for those members of my family and I. We got to, like, figure out what it was. And, you know, I started getting eczema around the same time that I figured out what HS was. And I didn't know what it was. I just kept getting these huge rashes all over my hands. And they were so painful.
It seems like every time you figure out the one thing that you're like, oh, that's what's causing this. then something else just unlocks in your brain, and you're like, okay, activate the whatever juice to start whatever new autoimmune disease.
Yeah. So, I think what actually happened was, like, I got my
juice
first...
theory. That's what happened.
Yeah, okay. I got my first job. Oh, well, I got my second job at KFC, right?
Uh-huh.
And when you work a job, you naturally wash your hands more often. You're not just gonna get up from, like, typing at your computer and be like, gotta wash my hands. You know, after the bathroom, of course. You know, when you're handling food at home, of course. When you're being gross with the dogs, wiping the cream that they have to have on them, of course you wash your hands. But you wash your hands way more when you're working in, like, a food preparation setting.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I was going to say that some of the Concentrics training videos actually say, like, you should get up and go wash your hands from the germs on the keyboard.
Well, here's the thing.
And it's like, it's your own keyboard. If you're washing your hands after you use the bathroom, / making food after you're done eating, why is your keyboard dirty?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, you do clean it.
Yeah, like, you, like, wipe down your keyboard, but, like...
just like a Clorox wipe.
Exactly, so it's like, why is your keyboard dirty?
Yeah, it's
why is this in a training video, you know?
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you wipe it off with a Clorox wipe. It's not one of those things where you have to, like, deep clean it, like a sink or, like, a toilet or something. Like, you do your basic wipe down, and then you clean it once, or hopefully more, a week. Right? You deep clean it. You take the toilet brush and the bleach, and you go through. Like, that's...
Yeah, that's what I do with my keyboards. I take the toilet brush and bleach, and each individual key I go through and...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's not one of those things where you have to deep clean it, because you're touching it with clean hands all the time.
And just the tops of the keys.
Yeah, like, you wouldn't go change a baby's diaper and then go right back to your keyboard. No, that's gross. But just when you're in a food preparation area, we'll get back to that. You wash your hands more often, and I was ending up washing... I counted one time, I washed my hands 50 times in a 4-hour. Like, I just kept washing my hands.
In a 4-hour period?
Yeah, because I was touching, like, raw chicken, and then I was like, I gotta wash my hands, and I got this horrible rash, and it turns out it was eczema.
You know what? I don't blame you, because anytime I ever make chicken, like, chicken fried something, I always wash my hands at least, like, 20 times.
Yes.
In the, like, hour that I'm making it, because I'm just so, like... I don't want to spread salmonella everywhere.
I feel like if I turn around... Like, we have a kitchen. We live in an apartment. Obviously, we have a kitchen. Our kitchen is U-shaped.
No, not obviously, because Andrew didn't have a kitchen. He had no oven in his apartment. No fridge. And
I
what
don't
else
think he had a stove.
Yeah, he didn't have a stove or oven.
He just had a hot plate.
Exactly.
Well,
That's all that he had.
I count those as two separate appliances. I'm going to be honest with you. I count those as two completely separate.
That's fine. Sipping coffee.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine. Like, sip your coffee. We're coming off of an illness. But when I worked at... Okay, a little lore drop. I worked at KFC. I worked at Whataburger, then I worked at KFC, then I worked at Popeyes, then I worked at Hooters, then I worked at KFC again. So... I've worked extensively in the chicken industry. Some could say that I'm an expert on salmonella.
A chicken expert.
Yeah, because I am such a freak about, like,
Salmonella-phobe.
I have mentioned before, my biggest fear is getting pink eye, right? I think my biggest fear is actually salmonella. So... You know, I'm very serious about, like, food safety, and that's just the nature of, like, being a cook or somebody, or a chef, or whatever you want to call it. I was never a chef.
Just being around food prep.
Yes, you need to be a clean person. You don't need to be using dirty-ass gloves all the time. Like, I'm not saying don't use gloves. I'm saying change your gloves when they get contaminated.
I mean, that's if you're in a reputable place.
Yes, definitely.
Because, let's look at, like, Kitchen Nightmares and like...
Yes, but those typically
like
aren't,
Ooh, Sorry.
Go ahead.
Close, but kind of not close. That's like this lady on TikTok. She was talking about how she worked for a DQ, right? And there was...
Oh, I also worked for Dairy Queen.
Oh, yeah. There was a McDonald's across the street, right? Mm-hmm. And she was saying that every night at 9 o'clock, they'd break down all their ice cream machines at DQ and clean them all. Yeah. Break them all down.
That's pretty standard.
McDonald's didn't know how to break down their machine.
That's crazy.
So that's why McDonald's corporate called her DQ across the street. Because they knew they got ice cream machines and they got to clean them. Because they didn't have a tech to go over there. So she got called at like 11 o'clock. So when she went over there was like lunch already, right? Uh-huh. And at McDonald's, their ice cream machine is right there, right behind the front cash register.
Which is a horrible setup, by the way. If you're not going to be cleaning it, you can see like black mold and shit come out.
Exactly.
Ugh.
This lady... She asked for the 5-gallon bucket. That way, whenever you knock it open,
there's a lot of water.
It dumps all the condensation, all the juices and whatnot, right?
There's a lot of water involved in cleaning one of those machines.
Need 5-gallon buckets. They didn't know where their 5-gallon buckets were.
Are you fucking kidding me?
They've never cleaned it before. And when she finally broke it open, the, like, seal, the first thing that came out was black mold and worms. Worms, maggots, and, like, dead flies and shit like that. She said it was so nasty. It was, like, just black sludge, basically, that came out.
BRB adding that to double feature.
Dude, for real. But that's crazy. It's like, that is milk that is churning in there. It not only has to be cold, but it's also warm in there. Because of
the mechanics make it warm.
It makes it warm. So if you're not cleaning it, it will start to, like, bake bacteria in there.
Yes,
because bacteria just gets wherever.
Yeah, it does.
If you don't clean it, it's gonna grow somewhere.
And the nature of milk and cream is that you're not able to get 100% of the bacteria out.
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
Is because it's still in there.
Yes.
Especially for...
You're not supposed to drink raw milk.
Yeah.
And so even though there's the pasteurization process, you cannot guarantee 100% of the time that there won't be bacteria or parasites or what have you in that milk product, in that dairy product. So that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
And I do want to say something. My time at Hooters, cleanliness-wise and, like, managerial-wise, we had one manager when I was there. The general manager.
The now closed Hooters?
Yes. It was always very clean. There wasn't, like, we're leaving this for overnight, like, occasionally.
Let's leave this till the morning and they can pick it up.
When our fryers were broken, that happened. Because we couldn't, it would just drain onto the floor. You can't do that. But she held it to such a high standard, and I really did appreciate that. Because I had worked in such dirty fucking kitchens, where it's like, you only can do so much. I would clean sometimes, depending on the area, you know.
Well, it's just disrespectful to the customer, because it's like...
And it's disrespectful to your team members.
Exactly, because it's like, you're coming in to expect... I don't have to worry about... Is the fryer clean or not?
Yeah.
I shouldn't be going in worrying, should I be worried about if it's clean or not? Or if I'm going to get sick while eating here? I'm expecting to go into a place and just not worry about things.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of disrespectful to customers and your fellow employees.
Yeah.
To not just do your part. Because if everyone cleans up a little bit at the end of the night shift, and you keep up with it, it's not hard.
And this is going to be an unpopular opinion, okay? I know that. I'm very aware of that. I do believe that food service workers should be paid more, right? I do believe that.
Oh, yeah.
But when people say, I act my wage at my job, and they're talking about they don't clean, that's the bare minimum, sweetie.
That's just lazy.
You don't need to be making, like, okay, the bare minimum of your job, if you work in a food service environment, is maintaining cleanliness. That is number one. That is your job, period. If you're going to act your wage, you're cleaning. That's it, right? You don't have to worry. Acting your wage to me is like, Sonic was out the door in under 4. Whatever. You know, like, you don't have to be, like, doing it perfectly every time, you know, getting that time out or whatever. You don't have to be, like, upselling or what have you. Like, that's not acting your wage. You know, you don't have to be doing that stuff. But cleanliness is the bottom line. For
real.
If anything, like, yes, you should be paid more, but don't take cleanliness out and put people's health at risk, because that makes you a bad person. Because
I think you can hear his licking.
Dude, fucking probably, but whatever.
Okay.
I have editing software.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure you're gonna...
Yeah. No, it's fine.
You're not gonna be, like, super pissed when you're editing this, and you're like...
I'll just be petting him really hard.
Fucking guy!
I'll pet him like a guy with heavy hands.
This is a great transition to our next topic, that...
Okay.
Billy's sister...
Okay, hold on. Introduce Billy.
Oh.
I know we've talked about him on the podcast before, but introduce him like no one's ever met him before. Tell them about how crazy he is, how he does his twirls. Tell them.
Well, okay, so my baby Billy, we got him last March.
At the end of March, yeah.
Last end of March, beginning of April.
Yes.
Sometime around there.
He was 6 weeks old.
He was 6 weeks old. He was a precious little...
baked potato.
White puffball looking baked potato with the cutest little bluish brown eyes. Mm-hmm. So adorable. They've since turned hazel, like a honey hazel.
Yes.
Oh, beautiful. Especially when they start to shine in the sun.
Oh my god, I love looking at him when he's just like basking. Yes. He loves to bark. I was about to say he loves to yell. He loves to bark at this window in our bedroom. Right now we're filming in our bedroom. And we have one window in the bedroom. And I love to just let the natural light in during the day. And he will come over, he'll say hi to me. And, you know, some dogs, when they go to, quote, say hi to you, it's like, they just look at you. He does this specific thing, like he's, like, shaking my hand. Like, he goes and he, like, knocks his little nose by my hand, and then he goes and does whatever. He makes sure... It's like when you walk in somebody's house and you're like, "Hi, Miss Smith." Like, that's what he's doing.
He's very human.
He is very human.
He's very human. When he sleeps, he likes to stick his little head out.
Yes.
To keep his body wrapped up in a blanket. Oh, he's adorable.
He loves to sleep with one pillow underneath his head.
Yes. Make sure pillow under the head. He could care less about underneath his body as long as there's a blanket on it. So It's like, dude, why are you sleeping like me?
Why are you actually a toddler?
Yeah, it's like, okay, that's cute.
Yes.
But that's interesting. I've never seen a dog do that. I've seen them, like, grab the blanket and twirl it up on the pillow and then wrap themselves up like that, but not like this guy.
Yeah, and
I like the way you think.
I like the way you think.
The Peter Griffin.
He slaps the crosswalk sign. I like the way you think. Ronald ended up taking me to his cult. He was Ronald on good days and Father God on bad days. Like, I love that kind of way.
I didn't drink the root. I don't like root beer.
Yeah, he poisoned the root beer, but I didn't drink it because I don't like root beer. I fucking love that.
Ridiculous.
But Billy is wild. Yes, and we recently discovered, and I had known about this, that some dogs, some high energy dogs, like to get a towel thrown on them, and then you run into a different room, and they have to, like, sniff your scent out to find you. It's almost like hide and go seek, but with the dog, right? So, I was fluffing out my top sheet, and he was, like, running underneath it like a little parachute, and we found out that he likes to get kind of, like, thrown around in that.
Caught caught in a parachute. It's adorable.
I say thrown around, but literally it's just kind of tucking him in, and then moving your hands from side to side, and then he runs around in circles. It's so cute. He likes it, and he really likes when you tap on it on one side, and he's on the other side, and then he gets to run to that side, and then you tap on the other side, and he gets to run to that side. He really likes that.
He's so adorable.
Yes, he is. He is such a handsome young man.
He's such a cute little blonde dog.
Yes, and he's recently become such a little love bug. He's obsessed. Sweetheart. I think he just didn't know how to coexist with us, and he didn't quite get what we're about. I don't think he quite understood that. So he would just lay down, and he wouldn't lay down with either of us, and it's no, buddy, you can lay down with us. I don't know why you're acting like a dog that's had other owners.
Yeah.
You're acting like you were rehomed. You weren't rehomed. You went from litter to us.
Yeah. You barely remember your litter mates.
Yeah.
And speaking of... Speaking of...
Oh my god.
My cousin who gave us Billy, her aunt needed to rehome her chihuahua from this litter, and we will be taking care of her soon. So we're gonna have another little love bug in our house.
Yes, and her name is Sin, but I'm thinking of elongating it to Cynthia.
I think it's cute.
I think it's so cute. Because it keeps her name, how we did with Lydia.
Yeah.
It keeps her name still intact, Syn Thea. She's gonna get it, right?
Yeah.
But it also matches Lydia. I just thought about that. Cynthia and Lydia.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
It'll be cute. It's like Billy and Gary.
Yeah.
I mean, they end in Y's, and that's
the girls and the boys.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
It's cutesy patootsy.
Yeah. And she's adorable.
Oh, she looks like potentially her grandpa Gary. She has a little gray muzzle.
For those that haven't listened to this podcast before, Gary is our other Chihuahua who's sitting right here and licking the microphone. Oh, he's not licking the microphone, he's licking underneath the microphone. And he used to be a breeding dog. And he bred with a lot of eligible young Chihuahuas in Corpus Christi.
To Mexico, so...
Yes, it's very likely that there are some dogs that are descended from Gary. And,
timelines line up.
Yes, so...
Where his litters could be...
descendants, and could be Chico and Chica.
Yeah.
Or, I don't think Chica... She got Chica, right? First?
Yeah.
So she had Chica for a while? Or she got Chica...
She had...
Chico.
She had Chico. And
so
then
Chico
she got
might
Chica.
Might not be Gary's, depending on how long she had him.
Right.
But Chica might be one
of Gary's descendants, because she is a year and a half older than Billy.
Yes. And that's what's crazy about technically looking at the years, Gary could be someone's great grandpa. It's just wild, because dog year, well, I'm not even talking about dog years, but a dog's fertile window happens so much faster than in my own world. I think of things in terms of me, right? Technically I could have children right now, right? So let's say I had a child, and then 22 years in the future that child had a child. That would be my grandchild, right?
Yeah.
But a dog could reproduce, let's say, every year. There are some dogs that reproduce every 6 months.
Yeah.
But...
Well, specifically Gary, technically, yeah, every 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Or whatever they were taking them to do.
So he could have...
hundreds of litters.
Yes. So it's just wild to think about. I'm very self-centered in my vision of the world and vision of things, and then I think about it, I take a second to think about it, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy.
It's only because, and we only say this because it's very rare to see a long-haired Chihuahua in South Texas, and Gary is a long-haired Chihuahua. And Billy has the long-hairedness.
Yes.
And then also, when I was working in Aransas, I would constantly see dogs that would look like Gary.
Yeah.
Because he has a specific, like, dready ear hair. I don't know, like...
It gets, if it's...
It kind of curls.
Yes.
His ear hair curls in,
curls
like, little
into,
strands.
It curls into, like, specific, like, ringlets.
Yeah.
That's the word you're looking for, is ringlets.
But since it's on his ear, it's not a lot of hair, so it just kind of looks...
It looks like it's matted, but it's not.
It's just... It's soft and
I
curly.
personally know that I brush both of the dogs every single day.
Yeah.
And I brush the cat every single day, right? So... I know that you also brush the dogs, so I don't even take into consideration, like, things that you do with the dogs.
Yeah.
I just go, I know I did blank, blank, blank with the dogs today. I know you also did it, so they're fine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sitting here like, did you feed the baby? Like,
right.
Fucking stupid as fuck. But that would be something that we would have to change if we had a child right now, because that child would end up getting fed twice, or like...
I mean, that's not how a baby would work, because we definitely wouldn't be like, hey, I'm just gonna feed the baby and not tell you.
Oh, no, we actually do tell each other a lot of stuff. Like, oh, the dogs need food, like, I'm gonna get it real quick. Like,
yeah.
I think that was a stupid comment for me to make, because... Also, like, depending on, like, even with formula feeding...
It's just grooming that we don't tell each other about.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, who cares if we brush the dog? They need to be brushed.
Yeah.
/ who cares if I clip their nails? It's just
it's just something that needs to get done.
Hey, I managed to clip a whole paw and a half.
Our dogs hate getting their nails clipped. Gary...
It gets done in, like, a couple days.
Yeah, we just... When it has to happen, we just go, like, 1 nail a day, or, like, we try to get more, but it's something, end of the line, they know it's gonna happen. We know it's gonna happen, but does it have to happen? Like, is it gonna break their paws if it waits, like, a day? No. Because their paws are getting done, you know?
Yeah, it's better than it not being done at all.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, if at first something doesn't work, you may have to adjust. And trying to clip the dog's nails all in one go does not work. They freak out. They scratch us and draw blood because they're so scared. And, like...
Did you see the bulldog that I sent you?
I'm not sure.
On TikTok? They also had to get him while he was sleeping.
Dude.
To clip his nails. But this bulldog was like... like, he was pissed whenever they would clip a nail when he was sleeping. Oh my god, if our chihuahuas acted like that whenever we would clip their nails...
We would go to the vet and have them, like...
Muzzled.
I was about to say put the dogs down. No, I mean put them to sleep for a moment. Like, give them like, laughing gas, or I don't know what they do. I don't have to... I'm not a veterinarian.
I was gonna say Narcan.
Oh my god.
That's not...
not at all.
Not at all what would help.
No.
That would, in fact, wake them up.
Yeah, but I would not do... Like, we would just take them to the vet to have them, like, put to sleep so they can get their nails clipped, and then they would wake up, and then they would not know what happened.
Yeah, bonk them on the head with a little baseball bat, or whatever they do. Hey, whatever the vet does, you know... Yeah. If it's a baseball bat, a little bonk on the head, you know,
As long as I don't see it. As long as they don't get concussed. No, absolutely not.
As long as whenever they do get bonked on the head, they see little birds flying around their heads.
That's what they get for being mean. When they get their nails... No.
Bonk on the head?
Absolutely not. We don't do that. We redirect our dogs when they have bad behavior.
That's so mean.
Yeah, it's so fucking mean.
Bonk on the head.
Like, let's be honest... Billy does his own bonking too much for us. Like, first of all, we're not animal abusers.
Billy does a surprising amount of bonks on the head. He will pick his head up whenever, like, I'm trying to pick him up onto the couch, and I have the table close by. He will
wriggle. He moves.
Well, no. I will pick him up on the couch, and then since the table is so close, he will lower his head underneath the table and pick it up. And it's like, dude,
fucking idiot.
You saw the table and you put your head underneath it.
You know what he does quite often in front of me? So, you know how Lydia, like, runs in front of us and then throws herself down?
Yeah.
He's such a copycat. Billy is the biggest fucking copycat there is. He's
starting to do that?
He's starting to try to do something like that.
Oh, I hope he does. That would be so cute. To see him just throw himself down on the side because he's so uncoordinated.
Yeah, he is. He's so uncoordinated.
Very uncoordinated.
He has no hand-paw coordination.
Eye-paw coordination.
Oh, hand-paw? Nuh-uh.
Eye-paw and tail coordination.
So what he does is now he runs a few steps in front of me, and now he's underneath the little tray. But now he runs a few steps in front of me, and then tries to turn around and look at me real fast. But the other day, he did it right in front of our bedroom, so he hit his head on the door jamb.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I was like,
this poor guy. I've seen him hit his head on the door jambs multiple times. And it's like, dude, they have not moved. Why are you hitting your head on the door jamb?
By the way, this is our developmentally delayed dog. He has been diagnosed with that by his veterinarians, multiple of them.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how they can tell, but because they didn't run any tests.
They did.
What tests did they run?
So
Was it a blood test?
So they do like a blood test. They did a bunch of tests on him, actually. So
I didn't see a training course, so
there was no training course. But
I was expecting your answer to be like, "Well, I took him, and there was a American Ninja Warrior training course that you didn't see."
So here's the thing: by the things that we told the vet, things that he was doing, they were able to discern that he was developmentally delayed based on his age and the actions that he was doing.
Oh, okay.
And then when he was neutered, they did run like a test or two to figure out what was wrong with him. And they were like, yeah, some dogs just do that. Some dogs are developmentally delayed.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they can tell based on, it wasn't like a test where they're like, here's a stress test. We're going to do an ECG.
I just, maybe they hooked him up with on a treadmill, or they gave him a pen and paper and they're like, hey, yo, write me a song.
So, part of it, when they took him back, he couldn't walk in a straight line. Stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. When they did okay.
So, it's stuff like that. He also was almost falling off the vet's table, too.
Yeah.
It was just stuff like that added into it. So they actually did a little bit of a test when he got neutered. Mm-hmm. And that's when they were like, yeah, we'd say he's developmentally delayed. Okay. But I found out from his notes on my chart, or the vet one.
Yeah. Yeah. The one that's tracked or attached to his chip.
Yeah. So it's too fucking funny. But
our baby, they did the state inspection on him.
Yeah, and by the way, they did not hit him in the head with a mallet or whatever. They weren't like Tom and Jerry,
like a baby seal, just bonk.
No, we would never
clubbing a baby seal.
Oh my god! Yeah, they do that.
It's illegal.
Oh.
Yeah, it's illegal to club baby seals now.
Why was that a thing?
Because
was it just
their
fun?
furs are very soft. Because baby seals look smooth, but it's actually a fluffy fur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I thought, sometimes, cow tipping, I know it's not real, but, people still try just because they think it's fun. I thought it was one of those things.
No.
I thought it was one of those things. I didn't think about the fact that their pelts were used.
Did you know that the Inuit can hunt, narwhals?
That's really cool.
Hi, Zipp here. I just wanted to add a little bit more context to this conversation. Yes, some Inuit communities are allowed to hunt whales for subsistence, but the practice is heavily regulated by Western policies. The International Whaling Commission, IWC, sets hunting limits and permits for Inuit in Greenland, and the Nunavut Wildlife Management Board, NWMB, monitors the harvesting of whales in Nunavut. In 2024, for example, the Inuit hunters of Aklavit, Northwest Territories were permitted to hunt one bowhead whale. The whale meat was then distributed to communities in the region. And at some points, the Native Americans were forced to stop, but it was able to resume in the 1990s. So that is just some of the information. Obviously, it's not all of the information, but I want to make sure that we're not putting misinformation out on this podcast.
I follow this creator on on TikTok named Sheena Nova, and she's a throat singer, and she shares like eating beluga whale. It's raw and sometimes fermented. Fermented? You don't like fermented?
No, I'm not into anything fermented.
Yeah.
I'm not into kimchi. I'm not into
You don't even like pickles?
No, I'm not into pickles.
Yeah.
Rarely I'll eat fried pickles.
Yeah.
But that's like a rare occasion.
Yeah.
And they gotta be like super thin that it's like, this may be a cucumber. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, but I think it's really cool. Especially since, like, they share it, and then, the family shares, like, we eat it raw, we eat, like, all of it.
Yeah.
It's not just, like...
I mean, it's a big fucking, like...
They share it with their community.
How big are they? Like 900 pounds?
Beluga whales, yeah. But they're not like, we harvest it only for the stomach or only for the heart.
Yeah.
They eat all of it. So, see a lot of hate for that, though. Like,
what do you mean?
The creator that I was talking about?
Uh-huh.
She's Inuk, and that's an Inuk practice. And, typically, though, like, a majority of native tribes do use the whole animal.
Yeah.
But beluga whales is the Inuk sort of thing. They got a lot of hate for that. Because I'm not sure if beluga whales are an endangered species, but whaling has a bad face to it because, like, how buffaloes were killed almost to extinction by white people. That's exactly the same thing that happened. So people are using their standards of, whaling is bad for the indigenous communities that do right by the animals.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so what you're saying is, yeah. It's fine for them to be hunting them because they only hunt, like, one for the entire town. And then they're the only people allowed to do it in Canada. / I don't think there's any belugas in the waters near the U.S.
I don't
to
think
be hunting them.
Because
but
the closer you get to the equator, even though like the northernmost part of the eastern part of the western part of the United States,
yeah,
it's still pretty close to the equator. Like yes, the waters are cold by our standards, because we live by the equator. Yeah. But the closer you get, the less inhabitable it is for the beluga whales and, like, various Arctic creatures.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah. Also, who the fuck is hunting beluga whales other than them? Like...
People take advantage.
What I'm saying is that, let them hunt what they want to hunt.
Native people?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, mind your own fucking business. You're not even... I bet they're not even Canadians that are going on about this. Just
random fucking trolls on the internet.
I guarantee it's fucking Americans that are just... save the whales!
I don't have to understand something to have empathy about that. You know what I mean? And maybe empathy is not the correct word. To have acceptance about it. I don't have to understand why a cultural norm is a cultural norm to have just base level acceptance of it. Right? Yeah. And especially if things have been going on for centuries, that it's one thing when it harms people. Like, I'll say from my own experience, Mormonism, there are very, very few, there are a lot of cultural norms that are very harmful toward women and children.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. right?
Yeah. So, if it's something like that, obviously, I don't think you have to just blindly accept it. But this practice, whaling, doesn't hurt anybody.
No.
It doesn't.
No, because they're already on the endangered species list, and they're, like I said, they're only doing the one, so it's fine because there's more than enough still breeding. Even if they only kill one a year, there's 20, 30 more that were made in that year.
Yes.
So it's like, it's the one that has to go.
Yes.
And it's not like they're hunting for sport. They're hunting for food. They're gonna eat it all.
Yeah.
They're gonna use every single speck of it, and they're not gonna waste any of it.
And I will say, in my own experience, with the members of my family that are indigenous to Central America, they are members of the indigenous population there, they are very resourceful and they are very sustainable in each and every practice that they have. They're not going and purposefully causing waste or having a big carbon footprint. They walk when they can. Like, of course, in certain, like, towns, it's not necessarily the best option to walk, especially if you're going into a city to get, like, healthcare or something.
Yeah.
You know, like, you're not always going to be able to walk. They limit their car usage. They limit their, like, all sorts of things. And I find that very commendable. I find that very, very commendable.
I think it'd be cool if America could do that more.
Yeah. Well, the problem is with the infrastructure.
Oh, yeah. There's no fucking way, because of how big the country is.
Yeah.
You can't do it. It's not feasible for, like, most of the country to do something like that, only because of how much business is already set up.
I think it starts on the local level. You can't immediately imagine it on a national level, especially for a country as big as the United States, because it's gigantic.
Yeah.
So, you have to start on the local level. You have to start with each town and each city, and, you know, sometimes maybe even a city's too big, you have to go down to a neighborhood, right? So, it starts on what seems like a microscopic level, and that's what helps change on the larger scale. You can't just be like, okay, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna make this giant change, but actually it's gonna take 200 years because, you know, the local level's not prepared for it.
Yeah.
You can't expect a small-ass town to have the resources immediately available, but you have to rely, sometimes with the small towns, like, let's just say Ingleside, for example. Like, sure, it could have a bus route, you know? It could have, like, a train. They have train tracks there.
Yep.
So, you may
Said
have to
it
rely...
stops on one side of town to the other.
Well, that would be where you go from town to town.
Yeah.
You may have to rely on a bigger city like Corpus Christi to help you out a little bit. And that's why the necessity of communities is such a big thing. And that's why, like, the breakdown of community, and it starts even in the family unit. Like, a lot of new parents say that their parents don't want anything to do with their children because they're already done raising their children. But these same new parents are like, I was at my grandma's house every day after school. You remember when you were very young, hanging out with your grandma all the time, right?
Yup.
And that would be the same as your mom not help. No, it wouldn't be. Because sometimes being there is a hindrance instead of a help. But the same concept. Like, I grew up and my grandparents were not around, ever. Mm-hmm. And our children will probably grow up the same way. And it's sad, because I can't offer any grandparents.
Well, I mean, that's a little hard to...
I can't offer any grandparents.
Conjure.
Yeah. But you know, it's sad. And it's not just one thing. There's intersectionality of all these issues. But speaking of my parents, my dead parents, I want to talk, I told you this story earlier. I had a dream
today that was just awful. It was one of the worst dreams I've ever had in my entire life. So, trigger warning, Tusk-like creature. If you've seen the movie Tusk, the 2014 smash hit Tusk, directed by Kevin Smith. Is
that the year?
Yes, 2014.
You know that?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't even have to fact check. I know it's 2014.
I'm not going to question it further.
So, I was at a desk. I was actually in our second bedroom working at a desk. And I don't remember quite what I was doing, but I was typing on a computer. And my stepfather walked into the room, and he sat at the other desk in the room. And he had a piece of paper, like a pristine piece of paper in front of him. Like, he kept this... My stepfather was somebody that would, like, keep something that was very important to him with him. But he kept it very nice, this paper. And it was, like, this beige color. And he sat down, and he, like, laid it in front of him, and he, like, checked the corners to make sure it was, like, lined up perfectly in front of him. And I was working, and I turned to him, and I go, "Hey, what's up, Aaron?" And he goes, "I've got something to show you." And so I moved my chair, my rolly chair, I rolled at the desk, and he slides the paper with one hand up to me. And I look at it, and it says, Kangaroo Man. It says, Kangaroo Man. There's a picture of, and this is like a graphic picture, it's not an actual picture of the Kangaroo Man, but it's a picture of a kangaroo, a plus sign, and a picture of a man. And it says, at the ice rink. And so he says, I finish reading it, and I place it back down, and I slide it back to him. And he says, "Do you want to go with me? Your mom doesn't want to go." Which was the case a lot of times. Like, my mom would not want to go to something, and then I was the second choice.
Yeah.
Like, he would suggest, like, I want to go see Cannibal Corpse. And I was like, obviously my mom does not want to go to that. So he would invite me to, like, do these fucking random ass things.
You're like, yeah, I guess I'll go.
I don't got anything better to do. And
yeah.
By the way, I'm an adult. I am 22 years of age in this dream. And so I get ready to go to Kangaroo Man at the ice rink.
Ice rink.
And we go. We drive in that fuck-ass orange car that I had.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to the ice rink. And I am mortified. Because when I walk in, there's a lot of people. And I have social anxiety. And I'm like, ugh, I don't want to be in here. By the way, in the dream, I also know, this is like a little backstory in the dream. I'm medicated. Right? So I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people here. But I see the Kangaroo Man arching over the people because he is like 10 feet tall. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier when I was telling you the story. This man is huge. And he does not look like the poster. He does not look like Kangaroo plus Man. He is an amalgamation of Kangaroo Man. His mommy was a kangaroo and his daddy was a man. And I knew that in the dream. And so we're waiting in line.
I can just feel the vibe.
First of all, we have to get ice skates. And my stepfather was not a very athletic man. Like, watching him run was kind of funny. So he puts up these ice skates, and the whole time he's like, like, reaching for help. So I've got to, like, grab his arm and, like, give him, like, this stability. And we just keep getting closer and closer to the Kangaroo Man that's in the middle of the rink. And we get closer and closer. It's finally our turn. And it feels like sitting on evil Santa Claus's lap. Like, that's how I feel.
Jeez.
Like, he goes up to me, Kangaroo Man, no words, puts his fuck-ass kangaroo arm on me, and I was like, actually, I don't want you to touch me. I really don't want you to touch me. You know how I am about, like, people touching me?
Yeah.
And I don't say anything, but I'm like, fuck, don't touch me. I flipped out on Kangaroo Man. I don't know if Kangaroo Man was actually a man, because it did have a pouch with joeys in it. And they were regular kangaroos, so that was a little comforting.
I was gonna say, were they kangaroo boys?
I don't know. But, anyway, it's like, He had one human arm that was really fucking big, and one kangaroo arm that was really fucking big. He had kangaroo legs, but a man torso, and a kangaroo face, but with human mouth. And human eyes. It was freaky as fuck, Cameron.
Did you eat, like, hot sauce before going to bed? Before your nap this morning?
I didn't eat anything before my nap.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and so...
I wish I could have such outlandish dreams like this.
It's not done yet.
I wish.
So I freak out on Kangaroo Man, right? And Aaron's like, can you just take a picture of us? And he goes, and he's like, all about Kangaroo Man. And he goes, actually, can you lift me up? And he does like the... like where he's lifting him up with both arms. Mm-hmm. And his legs are up. He's got the skates on. His legs are up. By the way, Kangaroo Man does not have skates on.
Oh, that's fucked.
Well, yeah, he has kangaroo legs.
He has kangaroo feet, like
yeah.
the paws.
Yes. And he has no socks on or anything to protect him from the ice. And so he's holding my stepfather like a fucking infant. And I have to take this picture. And then Kangaroo Man looks at me and he goes, "You're next." And I said, no, absolutely not. I said, absolutely
Fuck,
not.
Dude.
And so I move away, right? I'm like, I skate the fuck away. Fuck Aaron. He can figure it out himself. Kangaroo Man can help him off the ice. And Kangaroo Man starts following me around the ice.
Fuck.
I've never been so scared in my goddamn life. I woke up in a fucking cold sweat. Because he finally touched me. He touched my fucking shoulder with his kangaroo arm.
Was it one of the dogs when you woke up?
No, they weren't around.
Was it Lydia?
No. There were no animals in this goddamn bed.
Oh, no.
I think I know why I had this awful dream. I may have watched a video of raygun breakdancing before. This dream was legit. I did have this dream this morning and it was awful. But thinking about it, I think it really might have been her fault.
Her shit dancing?
Yeah, honestly, I think I could have beat her out in Australian breakdancing. But there's much to be said about how awful of a person she is. First of all, she gave me that nightmare. What the fuck, Raygun? I don't know her name. Rachel Gunn? Rachel Gunn. What the fuck? I've got beef with Rachel Gunn. That's the title.
I've got beef with Rachel Gunn, with Raygun.
With Raygun.
Yeah, you gotta put Raygun so that it shows up in the Raygun searches.
When people were saying Raygun, I thought it was because she was doing like an action, like from not Marvel Zombies, from
COD Zombies,
Call of Duty Zombies, like the Raygun. That's a gun you can have. I thought that's what it was. Stupid me.
Is that just what she goes by?
That's what she calls herself.
Her hip-hop name.
That's what she calls herself.
Her hip-hop Joey Hop.
For those that don't know, for those that are fortunate enough to not know who Raygun is, she is an Australian self-proclaimed breakdancer who has a PhD in... I've heard cultural dance, but I've also heard breakdancing. I think it's funnier to just say breakdancing, so that's what we'll do.
Dr. Breakdance.
Dr. Breakdance. And she went to the Olympics for breakdancing on very sketchy terms, which are just now, like, beginning to light. So, you know, she took away a lot of opportunities from other more deserving people who could have won the gold for Australia for breakdancing. But, you know, she just had such a big ego that she had to go kangaroo hop, too.
What I heard was that there was no committee, no official, like, breakdance committee for for Australia, the country. Mm-hmm. And since she had the PhD, she was like, "Oh, I'll start one."
With her husband as the judge or something.
She started it first, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then started to audition people and start, like, gathering and ranking and whatnot, and then involve the husband afterwards for the final group. And then she even was she had some of her friends breakdance with her, and they were like, "Oh well, Raygun's obviously the better one. Mm-mm. So it's like, what the hell were they
doing? First of all, don't you dare unironically call her Raygun.
Raygun.
Her name is Rachel Gunn.
Rachel Gunn? Is that her name?
Yes.
Oh.
I think.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, Raygun.
Alright, see? Boom.
Anyway, it's very sketchy. She said, I want to go to the Olympics, so she did.
Yeah, she made it happen.
Without any work behind it.
Yeah, so...
It's like Logan Paul, how he's like, or not Logan Paul, Jake Paul, he's like, I'm going to the 2028 Olympics for boxing. Brother, the trials have not happened yet. You were too scared to fight Mike Tyson. He's gonna be another Italian girl. Do you know who I'm talking about, the Italian girl?
Yeah.
She got punched in the face one time, and she's like, I've never been punched in the face so hard in my life. Fucking pussy.
No, he has a pretty good record.
Jake Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like 8-1.
8-1?
Yeah.
Because he's fighting fucking people that are worse than him at it.
Well, yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, but you don't get that option at the Olympics. It's the best of the fucking best. Except for Raygun. Don't...
Except for Raygun. She's the one exception.
Yeah. Like, you don't go in gymnastics and be like, well, I don't want to go against Simone Biles. You don't get to say that!
I mean, I want to see him fight. Let's see him fight.
Let's see him make it through the Mike Tyson fight first.
That'll be cool, too.
Because if he calls it off... they had to postpone it till November because... And I don't know much about Jake Paul. Let's just throw that out there. I was interested in the Mike Tyson fight because I did want to watch him get his ass beat. But, it got postponed, I think, because there was an issue on Mike Tyson's side. He was injured or sick or something, so they postponed it. But Jake Paul's like, it's disrespectful. No, dude, you don't fight a sick or injured person. You just don't. That's no one would do that. No one would do that.
I think he had injured himself during a training or something like that.
During training?
Yeah, I think one of them injured themselves during training.
I'm pretty sure it was Mike Tyson.
Yeah. But
I'll fact check later on.
Oh, wait. It was because Jake Paul got knocked out during practice.
Actually.
And then that was one of the things. So
I
it was
remember...
like, hey... And then it was because he may or may not have had a concussion. So then that's why they were like, okay, we're gonna stay on, like, standby with this.
So I remember that happening, and this kind of feels like revisionist history almost. Because I distinctly remember that happening and being like, dude, you're dumb as fuck for letting that happen in training.
Yeah.
Like, you... First of all...
But, I mean, that might have just been one of the factors. I don't know. There's so much just going on.
I remember that being the reason that the fight was postponed. That was, like, the announced reason before it happened, and now that after the original date has gone on, people are saying, well, it was Mike Tyson, no mention of Jake Paul's injury.
Yeah.
But we're not sportscasters.
Yeah.
We're not at all.
I don't know nothing about anything.
I do, however, know that I could have probably beat Raygun with my interpretive dance skills.
Oh, you definitely could have.
I could have brought back my interpretive dance career.
You could have at least gotten 15th.
Yeah.
She got 16th, so...
0 points.
0 point. You could have at least gotten a point.
Yeah.
I'm sure you'd have gotten more than one, but, you know, that's my point.
Yeah.
No, that, like, worm she was doing on her side...
Dude.
That was fucking ridiculous.
Have you seen all of the videos that are like, unfortunately, my dog, sausage biscuit wrap, couldn't make, like, there's always the dogs with, like, the most ridiculous names, and I love them. I love the dogs with the ridiculous names, right? And they're like, my dog's sausage wrap couldn't make it to the Olympics, and they're doing the same exact move that she was doing on the stage. Like, they literally...
They're rolling around and shit, yeah.
They literally go, and they put it, like, on top of each other with, like, one little bit transparent, and it's, like, left arm move, right arm move, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Like, it's the same exact move!
Oh, when they're rolling around on their backs.
It's the same exact moves, is
God.
the thing.
Yes.
And I've also seen one do the kangaroo hop.
On the hind legs as well.
Dude, for real.
I've seen Gary do that. I've seen him do that every time we come home.
Dude, for real.
He's like, hey, it's party time. Kangaroo hop time.
Okay.
The Chihuahua hop.
The Chihuahua hop.
Yeah.
I love Chihuahuas so much.
Oh, they're adorable.
You know what my third biggest fear is?
What?
You know how much I hate fleas?
Yeah.
So our dogs are like on constant flea prevention.
Yeah.
I'm also very afraid of ticks.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a house. The house... Sorry, I just doxed myself. Not gonna do that. Anyway, the first house that we lived in Portland, when we moved from Ingleside to Portland.
Yeah.
That house, it was a very, very nice house, right? 3-bedroom, 2 full bathroom, very big, small backyard, but, you know, whatever. It was infested with ticks, and it was my mom's fault. Because my mom would, like, rescue all these mangy mutts that had been on the street and never been to the vet in 10 years of living, and they were, like, covered in fleas and ticks, and so, like...
Poor dogs.
I know, poor dogs, right? But she wouldn't immediately give them, like, a bath. She would just, like, let them roam the house for a while.
Gross.
So,
They'd be getting soaked in Dawn dish soap.
I fully had to go to school. Sometimes I'd be sitting in the middle school, well, the junior high at the time. Now it's torn down.
Now deconstructed.
Yeah. I would be sitting there, and sometimes fleas would jump off of me. Because I lived in a fucking flea house and a tick house. And I did everything I could. Like, I would tell my mom, like, let's clean, let's do this, let's do that. And so sometimes while my stepdad was at work, I would be, like, cleaning and vacuuming and all that kind of stuff, but it didn't fucking matter. Because you have to do, like a
bug bomb.
Yeah. When it's that bad,
yeah.
I would go to bed, and I would have to wipe the fucking fleas off my mattress. Or my, I had sheets.
Yeah.
I would have to wipe them off my sheets in my mattress.
Oh, my God.
It was awful. And you told me earlier today that we were talking about Sin, which may become Cynthia, the dog that we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
And how Billy is allergic to chicken, so we were just like, what if she's allergic to chicken too? And then you were like, you know there's a type of tick that makes you allergic to beef? And I was like, like, anytime, it's my biggest fucking fear. It's like, when you live in, like, a hoarder house, because my mom's biggest excuse when I was growing up was that she grew up in a hoarder house, which was not true. Her grandparents were hoarders, yes. But she didn't fucking live there. She went there every other weekend for a few hours. Like... So yes, that can be traumatic, but living there versus visiting, two very separate things. Two very separate things.
Definitely.
And that was always her excuse as to why there was, like, abusive cleaning involved, where, like, we would have to scrub the floors with boiling water and, like, wringing out rags.
Y'all's hands.
Yes, like, she would force us, like, and this was when we were very young. She would force us to put our hands into boiling water with rags and a hand scrub the floors. Which is not any more effective than using a fucking spin mop. Like, let's be so fucking for real. Let's be so fucking for real. And that, in itself, is abusive. And she would force us also to, like, clean the toilets with toothbrushes and shit like that. And, like, it would just be hours a day of cleaning. And a lot of people are going to say, like, that's not abuse. That's not what you think it is. But that's one of the forms of interfamilial child torture, is obsessive cleaning. And it makes you uncomfortable. Like, if I were to do what my mom was doing and be like, okay, you have to do... You would leave me. Like, it was bad. It was constant. And it was like, why are a 7 and a 5-year-old cleaning the floors with toothbrushes?
Yeah.
Like, that's...
Every day.
Yes. Every single day. There's no way the toilet gets that dirty. Like, yes, clean it more than once a week. Like, twice a week. And then you do your wipe downs, right? With the Clorox wipe to keep it clean. That is clean. right? When you take it to such a point, and she knew that I was allergic to bleach, but she would still make me use bleach. So, I'm allergic to it. It makes my throat start to close. So she would still make me use it. And I've been coming to terms recently with, like, the fact I didn't go through child abuse. I went through interfamilial child torture. And sure, it's a different label. I already knew all the things that went on. But it's still very painful to hear, like, one word versus another. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's been hard for me. And that's one of the things, like, we had to take a break from the podcast because I've been struggling with stuff like that. And I've just been in my head.
Yeah.
And I've tried to take this as a great opportunity. Oh my goodness, I have the hiccups right now. I've been trying to take this as an opportunity to write more and more and more. And Double Feature is looking very good.
Yeah, it is.
It is. And recently, today, this is coming out on Ko-Fi tomorrow, but today I set it up, and I'm gonna have, I have, signed copies of my book on there, the first editions anyway, and then I'll also have pre-orders for Double Feature, which comes out before the end of the year. So, I will tell you now what it's about. It follows several people who are stuck in a movie theater after an oil plant explosion. So they have to make do. They can't go out into the radiated areas. They will get very sick. They have to make do with what's available in the movie theater. And I think it's a great book. I love it. If you like I think it's American Gods, where it has the short stories in between each chapter.
American Gods.
Yeah, American Gods. If you like it like that, you'll like Double Feature. Because that's what I do. I have, the movies and...
There's a main overarching story with little...
short stories in between.
That add back into the...
Yes.
Into the main story.
Yes. And I am so excited for it to come out. I will also have merch on my Ko-Fi. It is ko-fi.com/Zoe, Z-O-E, writes books. So, I will have merch that comes out with it, crocheted blankets. I'm so excited for that. I just decided today.
Yeah, be on the lookout, y'all.
Yeah, so you can join the membership if you're interested in the membership. There's a $3 tier and a $5 tier. You get a lot of exclusive stuff. If you want to listen to the podcast a week early, you can do that as well on the Silver Bookworms tier. The Gold Bookworms tier allows you to buy very exclusive merchandise that is book-related and also pre-order signed copies of the book. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, and any other book that I release, that's also there. So... I am so excited. I love it. I think it's such a cutesy little thing. And there are also free. You can get stuff on there for free. So it's not just, the membership
It's tiers. Not just paid memberships.
Yes.
So go check it out anyways.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff that'll be on there that's free. But then there's also, extra stuff on there. And...
it's another site to stay updated.
Yes. All of my updates are going to be going on there first. Before they go on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, whatever else I have.
Yep.
And also, all of my YouTube videos will be coming out early. If you're interested in hearing Chapter 1 of the Behind Open Eyes audiobook, it will be up on my Ko-Fi. It is up on my Ko-Fi right now. So, it's up on the Silver Bookworms tier. So, I'm adding a bunch of stuff.
Silver, but also in gold, so...
yeah, also in gold.
Obviously...
Yeah, and I will be releasing an unedited chapter of Double Feature very soon on the Gold tier. So, be on the lookout for that. I'm very, very, very excited about that. I love releasing a book. I love it. There's something about it that makes me just so excited every single time. I'm like, eek! That's the noise I make. I go, eek!
It's awesome when you do release a new book because it's ooh, another thing for the zeitgeist.
What's the zeitgeist? What is the zeitgeist?
Isn't that all the
I don't know what that word means.
All the, like, information and shit in the, like, pop culture.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh my gosh, I forgot to tell you. I'll also have the San Antonio Seed will be coming out on there. The newspaper?
Yes.
Will be coming out on my Ko-Fi. So I will have the link to it in the description of this video. Definitely will have that link. But I fucking love releasing a book. And I love being able to sprinkle in Easter eggs for, like, other books. Like, using the San Antonio Seed, which is my fake news media. And using, like, this doctor's name, or that person. So exciting. It is so exciting. I love it. I can't tell you. Starting to write a book is very difficult because, like, I don't exactly know these characters. It's like meeting a new person, you don't immediately know if they're going to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it feels. And then I finally get to, like, 6,000 words, and I'm like, eek, eek, eek.
So I know you.
I'm making little mouse noises. Oh, also my Ko-Fi, I've been making very cute clothes. If you've seen my last YouTube video, because this will go out next week on YouTube, I did make a sweater based on the cover of Behind Open Eyes, the hardcover. I love that fucking sweater. I can't wear it right now because it's, like, always 100 degrees outside. But in the winter, I'm going to be wearing the fuck out of it.
It's so cute.
Yes. And I made this little hat. I'm obsessed with this little hat.
It's such a cutesy hat.
And I might make a few to put on my Ko-Fi.
You definitely need to make some for everybody else. Ooh, you should put a little pom-pom on the center on one of them, maybe.
That would be cute.
It's like a little golf hat.
I don't know how to make pom-poms, and they stay together.
Really?
I don't know.
They're super easy. All you do?
I know how to make a pom-pom, but I don't know how to make it, like, very durable.
Oh. You just gotta tie it together real tight.
Really?
Yeah. That's all.
Okay. So
when you wrap it, right, and then you tie it in the center, you gotta
I can't tie it together super tight.
Oh, okay.
I don't have the grip strength. My carpal tunnel's too sneaky for that.
Loosey-goosey joints again.
Yeah, it's the loosey-goosey joints.
Remember, that's the medical term.
The medical term, loosey-goosey joint.
Yeah,
I might make
if you look up in Grey's Anatomy, loosey-goosey joints, that's the official term.
I might make a loosey-goosey joints shirt to go on the Ko-Fi.
Loosey-goosey joints.
Yeah. I hope I can,
profit.
Yeah.
Loosey-goosey joints,
My loosey-goosey joints.
Yeah.
Because I really want to get finger splints, because I have a few joints that are very problematic. My fingers, all of them, are probably the most problematic. Especially since I broke, like, 4 of them. They hurt all the time. And they're hypermobile. Like, you shouldn't be able to do this. Right? Like, most people aren't able to, like, move their joint like that. Like, so freely. And, by the way, nobody can see this. I'm moving the topmost joint in my finger around. Like, you shouldn't be able to just, like, do that. So, I want to invest in splints, but they're very expensive. But I know that they'll help my fingers in the long run, so I can continue to write books, you know, and I don't have to be one of those people that's like, dictate what I say. Like,
well, what we can do is just tape pencils to your hands. That way
you got me fucked up.
You can just kind of poke around, chicken peck. You won't. You'll start writing books at George R. Martin speed. It's perfect.
Dude, oh my god. I'm a believer that he already had it done, and that he's just waiting to put it out.
It definitely is, and it makes that scene in Lucky Logan hilarious.
What's Lucky Logan?
It's a Daniel Craig movie. I believe it's Daniel Craig.
Never seen it.
Yeah. It's a. I don't know. Anyways, there's a prison scene in the movie, right? Mm-hmm. And they're like, "Oh, we want the warden's like, well, I'm allowed to buy books and put them in the library, and I was able to get y'all whatever Game of Thrones books, right? Song of Ice and Fire. And he goes, but the whatever the title for the last book is, he was like, it hasn't come out yet. And one of the inmates is like, bullshit! Someone told me the end of how it ends. And he was like, I understand they probably told you all that, but it's based off of the show. And apparently, it says here that George R. R. Martin has had a long and strenuous touring schedule.
Oh, shut the fuck up!
And he has not been able to write the new book.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's what he said.
That's ridiculous.
That was in some of the interviews that he was saying.
I just gotta say,
so it gets even funnier the longer that he still hasn't put it out.
You have not been touring for 10 fucking years, buddy.
Yeah, it's like, dude.
Like, that's what I'm saying, is like, you can't say, I've had a long and strenuous tour schedule, and the last time you toured, I don't know when the last time you toured was.
Motherfucker, you're hanging out at your train station.
Like, chill the fuck out.
Put your book out.
Like, it's ridiculous. I think he already had it written, but he's scared because, and I would be scared too. I think he's just scared because, like, oh fuck, what if they followed the same ending? Like, maybe he already wrote it and it followed the same ending as the show. And he's like, like, I love that conspiracy theory because everybody hated the ending of Game of Thrones. Yeah. So he's like, I gotta rewrite this and make HBO the asshole. Like,
well,
that's the conspiracy theory that I follow.
I feel like it's pretty easy to write a better ending than.
Well, you're not a writer, so you wouldn't know.
What I'm saying is, hit up fucking Reddit, and everyone's voicing their concerns and shit, and just be like, that's good. What I'm saying is pander. Fuck it. Pander to the audience.
Because, listen, okay, so you told me about the Amtrak train. I can't stop talking about the Amtrak train. Okay,
yeah.
hold on. I gotta talk about this, because I haven't talked about it. My adopted dad and brother came to visit, and it was a great time. But one thing, my brother has an ocular ulcer in his eye, and I have heard no updates about it, and it's been a month since they visited. I'm pretty sure they visited on a Wednesday. The last day that I uploaded the long-winded podcast was the day that they visited. So I have not heard a singular update about this ocular ulcer. And at the time, he was not taking the antibiotics for it.
He left the steroids at home.
Yeah, and he lives in Arkansas, so...
And was on, like, a week trip.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, all you did was beefing up the ocular whatever you just said.
Ulcer?
Yes. And made it stronger. And now your steroids aren't going to be as good and strong. I'm fucking... ridiculous.
I don't know, steroids. I probably said, like, anti-whatever.
Roids.
But, yeah, I'm remembering it, and I'm freaked out about it. I'm so freaked out. And then you keep telling people, whenever we're like, oh yeah, my brother visited, you're like, he was wearing glasses the whole time? And, like, I wasn't gonna say anything about it, because he's kind of like a... It's not unexpected for Andrew to, like, do something where he wears glasses the whole time. Like, and it's like, just say what you mean. He's a little weird. Like,
no, it's not that he's weird. It's the
if y'all
fact
could see his shitty lion face right now, or ass-eating grin, is that what it is? Shitty ass-eating grin?
Shit-eating grin?
I don't know. I've always heard shitty ass-eating grin.
Who the fuck is telling you that?
I don't know, dude. The first time I ever heard it was in Texas, in South Texas. Somebody was like, look at her shitty ass-eating grin. I was like, what the fuck?
It's, look at their shit-eating grin. You just heard it from a Momo.
If y'all can see his shit-eating grin right now, he was like, no, I didn't mean he was weird.
I'm not saying he's weird.
He's very okay if somebody says he's weird.
I know. He's a little out there. It's just... I expect the unexpected with Andrew, because you know what?
He's a very funny guy.
It's not expect a weird thing from him, it's expect the unexpected.
Yeah, like he might come in...
It's just like you know what? He might be wearing a black belt today.
Yeah, he might be wearing a full
karate. Yeah, he might be wearing a karate gi. Has he ever taken a class of karate? No.
He's done taekwondo.
But you know what? Yeah, but you know what? That's what he decided to pick out of the closet today.
Yeah.
And it's like, when did you buy that? Well, about 2 or 3 years ago. For what purpose? No reason. And then I picked it out today to wear. And it's like, you know what?
Barefoot.
Awesome. Barefoot and all, yeah. It's like, you know what? Awesome. There is no, like, I'm not saying there's no, like, line of reason, but there is, like, no reason. It's just like, you know what? You do you. You're living you, and I love it because...
He's a great guy.
You ain't got no fucking plans. You're just doing you.
He's so funny because...
I aspire to be Andrew sometimes.
When he lived with my adopted dad, Doug was really, like, young in his
You always say when he lived with my adopted dad,
which is just his dad.
When you could just say when Andrew lived with his dad.
Yeah. That goes back to what I was saying. I think of life in a very self-centered way. It's hard for me to, like, immediately understand, like, I just, when I'm talking, I make it, like, my experience. I'm not gonna, and the whole thing, I just feel weird talking about other people's experiences like that. So I make it, like, my own, because at the end of the day, it was not my experience.
Fair enough.
But anyway, he was living with his dad, and his dad was a little younger in his faith. He was a few years into it, but he found his church, right? And I think he was, like, a year in at that church, right? And so he really wanted Andrew to also feel the love that he felt, right? And I don't know if this was Andrew or...
Embrace the church.
I don't know if this was Andrew or Doug. I think Doug may have bought Andrew, like, a Jesus shirt. And then Andrew was buying, like, funny Jesus shirts. Like the Nike, like, you can't dunk on me, but it's actually Jesus. Or it's a Michael Jordan, where the picture of him dunking, and it was actually replaced with Jesus. Like, he was... you can't dunk on Jesus. And
he has a lot of Bible shirts.
Yeah.
I think the first one that Doug, like, wholesomely bought for Andrew was like, oh, I'm leaning into this.
Yeah.
Because he likes just running with jokes for years. Like this fried chicken thing where he's just like, no matter where he goes, sometimes...
For a while, a few years ago, he told me that he kept ordering a fried chicken because he knew that it would be, like, the biggest item on the menu, and that Doug would get mad about it because he's like, son, you're not gonna eat all that. Why are you ordering it? And then he would be like, no, I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat it all. And then he wouldn't eat it all. And that's all, like, pissed him off. He'd be like, dude, I told you weren't gonna eat it all. I told you to order something closer to your appetite. And it was just like, they were fighting for no reason. And it was so funny. So occasionally he'd send me pictures of his chicken fried steak or whatever. Chicken fried chicken. And I would, if I got a chicken fried chicken, I would send it to him. Dude. Or one time, I think Travis got one, and I was like, can I take a picture of that?
Yeah.
I was like, hold on, can I take a picture of that? And I had to explain everything I just explained now, because he was like, sure?
Dude, no, because it's hilarious. Because anytime I see chicken fried chicken, I'm like, Andrew.
I ate a chicken fried chicken the other day, and I thought about it the whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. I love my brother so much. He's such a funny guy. I love that he runs with a joke.
And's a liar with jokes,
dude,
too.
He is such a fucking liar. He will tell a joke and then own it for 10 fucking years. There was a specific instance, in case you can't tell, where Andrew made something up to be funny, and then he didn't admit that it was fake for 10 fucking years.
Die hard and committed to this bit for years, played it straight-faced.
Yes.
Straight-faced, bold-faced lies.
And listen, my mom died thinking this was real. It's so fucking wrong. It's so wrong.
Too funny.
And I don't think I want to talk about it because it's so awful.
Yeah, nah.
It's so bad. It's so off the fucking deep end.
That's for the gold tier members.
Oh my God. But it is so awful that, like, that's not my story to tell.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I thought it was real for years, and I built off the joke. I was making jokes about the joke. And then I found out that none of this was real. It's this TikTok. None of it was real.
The cake is a lie.
The cake. Bitch, is this cake? I love that video.
Bitch, is this cake, dude.
from the prank show.
My whole thing is, how does she know it's cake by her ass cheeks?
It probably sunk in a little bit.
Yeah,
because think about it, no cake.
But do you know what cake feels like with your ass cheeks in a dress? That's my thing. Because obviously, there was like a chair or something underneath the cake, and it was like just a sheet cake, right? So how the fuck does she know it's sheet cake underneath her ass?
Honestly, there was like fondant or something on it.
Uh-huh.
That made it look like the chair.
Okay, I guess
and I think she may have, like, because when I get in a chair, I slide around just a little bit to get as comfortable as possible. And she may have done that as well. She may have adjusted just a little bit and was like, this is not this chair that I've been sitting in.
So the same
Bitch,
chair.
is this cake?
Bitch, is this cake?
But it's also Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta expect a
cake.
Yeah. Like, it's a harmless fucking prank. And it may have been one of those where it's like, what if I replaced this chair with cake? Like, when you know you're gonna prank somebody,
well,
and you're like, what would you do if I, like...
I guess what else would it have been?
Exactly. It was a big trend at the time when they filmed it.
Yeah,
So, there's obviously, like, background context, but it's so funny to me that she sits down, she looks around a little bit, and she goes, bitch, is this cake?
Dude, not even look around for a bit. Immediately.
She like, moves her eyes right to left and then goes, bitch, is this cake? Like, it's so fucking funny.
Wait, where did she go?
She moved her eyes right, then left, and went, bitch, is this cake? It's so fucking funny, dude. I fucking love that shit. But that's exactly what Andrew did to me.
Is this cake?
He made a fucking chair full of cake, and then I found out that it wasn't a chair after 10 years. And I was so pissed. I was so fucking pissed. And he told this to me right after we moved to Wichita Falls, right? We moved to Wichita Falls, and my brother decides, oh, I'm gonna move to Arkansas, by the way. And
like a week later.
Yeah, we're hanging out with him, and he goes, by the way, that joke was fake. No part of it was true. I was like, what? What? I built my fucking life on this!
I think he just needed something else to crumble around him. He's like, you know what?
I'm having a hard time.
Now's time to detonate a bomb.
You know, it seems like he was like, you know what, I'm having a hard time. Fuck you,
this
too.
Bush motherfucker. 9/11.
Bush did 9/11.
Stupid.
Anyway, thank you for tuning in to the Long-Winded Pals podcast with Zipp and Cam. Again, I'm Zipp, Cameron's Cam, and we love talking. So, we will be going back to this more like regular schedule on Wednesdays. We will be dropping every Wednesday, but this will be a week off. So if you're listening on Ko-Fi, you're gonna have every single Wednesday starting tomorrow or today if you're listening on the day. So if you're listening on YouTube, we do have an extra video lined up, so you won't have to miss out on the Long-Winded Pals podcast. Anyway.
See y'all!